What a mess at the Oxford Union. A highly anticipated debate between India and Pakistan has collapsed into a complete farce, with both sides now pointing fingers and accusing the other of running scared. Let's break down what happened, because this story is a wild ride of last-minute changes, alleged deception, and a whole lot of drama. The debate was set for November 27th at the prestigious Oxford Union. The topic was a fiery one. This house believes that India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. It was meant to be a serious, intellectually rigorous discussion, but it ended before it even began. The Indian side was represented by lawyer J Sai Deepak, who has been very vocal about the entire ordeal. According to his detailed account on X, the whole event was shaky from the start. He pointed out that key positions at the Oxford Union were held by Pakistani nationals, including the president, Musa Haraj, who he claims is a son of Pakistan's Minister of Defense Production, and the treasurer, Raza Nazar. This, for him, already raised a few eyebrows about the neutrality of the event's organization. Things got even more complicated just 2 days before the debate. The original high-profile Indian speakers, former Army Chief General Naravane and Dr. Subramanian Swamy, had to pull out due to unavoidable commitments. This left the Indian side scrambling for replacements. Despite the incredibly short notice, J Sai Deepak stepped up, ready to argue India's case. He managed to pull together a team from within the UK, bringing on Manu Kajaria and Pundit Satish K. Sharma. They were all set to go. Then, just hours before the debate was scheduled to start, the whole thing fell apart. At 3:13 p.m. on the day of the debate, Deepak says he received a call. He was told that the Pakistani delegation, which included prominent figures like former Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani and Defense Minister Khawaya Muhammad Asif, hadn't even landed in London yet. Hearing this, the Indian team, who were on their way, decided to abandon their journey to Oxford. After all, what is the point of going to a debate if your opponents aren't even in the country? But this is where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. A little while later, Deepak claims he received confirmation that the Pakistani delegation had, in fact, landed. Not only that, they were apparently already staying at a hotel right there in Oxford. As you can imagine, this revelation was explosive. Deepak immediately issued a blistering statement, accusing the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield even before the battle begins. He suggested they simply lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate against him and his team. He didn't just stop at criticizing the Pakistani delegation. He also called out the Oxford Union's leadership. He accused them of allowing the prestigious institution to be dragged amok and essentially becoming a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission. He felt the union had failed in its duty to ensure a fair and organized event. Now, let's look at the other side of the story. The Pakistan High Commission in London released a completely different version of events. Their official statement expressed regret that the Indian delegation had withdrawn at the last minute. They framed it as the Indian side giving them a walkover. They claimed that the original Indian lineup included General Naravane, Dr. Swamy, and even Sachin Pilot. According to Pakistan's statement, India's withdrawal showed a lack of confidence in defending its own security policies in a neutral and intellectually rigorous debate. So, we have two completely contradictory narratives. India says Pakistan played a deliberate gambit to avoid the debate by pretending they hadn't arrived. Pakistan says India got cold feet and backed out. The controversy didn't stay confined to the participants. Indian politician Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena also weighed in on social media. She mocked the situation, tweeting, "Pakistan is crying again over an Oxford Union debate. This is for the record. Once again they have proved to be liars. Expecting any better from them was not even on my list." Her comment basically echoed the sentiment from the Indian camp that the Pakistani side had been dishonest. So who do you believe? It's a classic case of he said, she said, but on an international stage. On one hand, you have J Sai Deepak's detailed timeline and his accusations of a Pakistani gambit. He provides specific times and details that seem to paint a picture of deliberate misinformation. Why would the organizers tell him the Pakistani team hadn't landed if they were already in Oxford? It's a question that hangs heavy over the entire incident. His frustration is palpable, feeling that he and his hastily assembled team were ready for a fight, only for their opponents to pull a no-show under very suspicious circumstances. On the other hand, the Pakistan High Commission's statement is formal and direct. They present the situation as a simple withdrawal by the Indian side. By naming the high-profile speakers who were initially slated to appear, they imply that India couldn't field a strong enough team and chose to withdraw rather than face defeat. Their version presents India as the party that was unwilling to engage. The Oxford Union itself seems to be caught in the middle of this diplomatic firestorm. An institution renowned for hosting some of the world's most challenging and important debates, is now at the center of a controversy about its own organizational integrity. Deepak's criticism of the student leadership is particularly harsh, suggesting they were either incompetent or complicit in the whole affair. For an institution that prides itself on free speech and robust intellectual exchange, being accused of being a mouthpiece for any government is a serious blow to its reputation. What this whole episode really highlights is the deep-seated mistrust that exists between the two nations. Even a student debate, an event that should be a platform for dialogue and understanding, can quickly devolve into a proxy battle filled with accusations and recriminations. It seems the political tensions are so high that a simple, honest conversation is nearly impossible, even in a neutral academic setting like Oxford. The original motion of the debate itself is quite telling. India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. This is a critical take on India's foreign policy. The Pakistani side would have been arguing in favor of this motion, while the Indian side would have been opposing it. It was guaranteed to be a heated discussion. Perhaps the Pakistani side felt that with the change in the Indian speakers, the debate would be less high-profile. Or perhaps, as Deepak alleges, they never intended to have a fair debate in the first place. Conversely, one could argue that the last-minute change in the Indian lineup did weaken their side significantly. Losing a former army chief and a seasoned politician like Dr. Swami is a major blow. Maybe the Pakistani side felt that debating a replacement team wasn't worth their time, especially for senior government figures like Haina Rabbani Kar and Khawai Asif. But the claim that they weren't even in the country, only to be found in a hotel in Oxford, is the most damning piece of the puzzle. If true, it moves this from a simple scheduling conflict or a misunderstanding into the realm of deliberate deception. It suggests an attempt to sabotage the event while making the Indian side look like the one that failed to show up. In the end, the real loser here is the opportunity for dialogue. A chance for two opposing viewpoints to be aired and challenged in a structured environment was lost. Instead of a debate, we got a public slanging match on social media and through press releases. It is a shame that an event designed to foster intellectual exchange at one of the world's top universities ended up reinforcing the very divisions it was meant to explore. The public is left to piece together the truth from conflicting reports, and the Oxford Union has a serious reputational crisis to manage. It's a messy, unfortunate end to what could have been a landmark event. What are your thoughts on this? Who do you think is telling the truth? Was it a calculated Pakistani gambit, or did the Indian side back out? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you want more breakdowns of complex current events like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.